Senator Van, and Senator Marielle Smith on remote.
Thank you, Madam Deputy President. I just want to comment briefly on the remarks made by Senator Van before me in this debate, taking note of questions by Labor senators where he said that Labor has never met a business we don't hate. Completely absurd and offensive commentary from Senator Van, given the nature of debate in this chamber today has been about economic support for individuals, about economic support for businesses. I know I personally have been supporting businesses and business owners through this time who have suffered tremendously because of these lockdowns, not just economically and financially, but in terms of their mental health, who are really, really struggling. And to suggest that I or other senators in this place hate businesses when we are currently trying to support them through something extremely tough and something your government has contributed to is horrifically offensive and disgusting. But to the matter at hand, the questions raised by Labor senators in Parliament in question time today that we're taking note of. Can we just look at the facts? Only 15% of Australians are fully vaccinated. 15%. So we know the order of vaccination we need to see to have some kind of roadmap or plan out of this is well above that. We're talking 70, 80% in that frame. We're at 15%. 15%. And Senator Colbeck couldn't even answer the specific questions that we had around the levels of vaccination in certain parts of Australia and in particular vulnerable parts of Australia. He says we're continuing to gather pace, the rollout's continuing to gather pace. Seriously, mate? Seriously? That's the best we've got? You can't answer specific questions about where we're at in the vaccine rollout when we know we need to get much, much higher. I think we need to see less back padding from this government, more arm jabbing. It's ridiculous. We need to get the vaccine rollout on track. We need jabs in arms. That is our ticket out of these lockdowns which are causing enormous distress in my home state of South Australia and enormous distress, of course, in New South Wales, where they've been going on for weeks and weeks. And there are weeks and weeks at least ahead in the future for them there in New South Wales. Who knows what the future holds in Queensland? And we have a government, when this is going on, who just shrugs their shoulders and says, we'll be right, she'll be right, mate, it'll be okay, we'll get there. Well, Australians are sick of your complacency. Businesses are sick of your complacency. Australians are sick of your complacency and they're sick of your blame shifting. You had two jobs, the vaccine rollout and fixing the mess of quarantine. How are you doing on both of those? Less patting yourself on the back, please, and more jabs in arms. I think that would be a really, really good place to start. What's happened in South Australia recently, our week of lockdown, I know it was only a week and I acknowledge the states around Australia who are going through a lockdown much longer than that, but even 1 week of lockdown has tremendously difficult impacts on people in my home state in terms of their mental health and well-being, in terms of their social connectiveness, in terms of the impact on business and on employment for people who can't work in the home and who don't have a job to go to if their business is shut down, if their workplace is shut down, not to mention the essential workers who do go to work every day to keep our economy moving, to keep us safe, to keep the essential services open during a lockdown at great risk, at great personal risk to themselves and to their families, many of whom who aren't vaccinated, many of whom haven't been eligible for a vaccination yet, who are working on our checkouts, in our supermarkets, who are driving our buses and our trains, who are working in essential businesses and essential jobs, who are waiting for this vaccine rollout to ramp up, to have the vaccinations available, to be able to book in and have their jabs so they can be safe and protected at work. That's what they're waiting on this Commonwealth government for. They're two pretty simple things. The vaccination rollout and, of course, fixing the mess of hotel quarantine, which is contributing to these outbreaks in the first place. Lockdowns are a necessary tool in combating the Delta variant. I understand that and appreciate that, and Australians do too. But they do expect the Commonwealth government to be doing everything it can with all the policy levers it has available to it to minimise the impacts of this, to minimise the likelihood of future lockdowns and minimise the impact on the people who are living them and experiencing them. It's not about expecting you to have perfect 2020 vision in hindsight. It's about expecting you to respond to what's in front of you, to do the best by your fellow Australians, to use every lever in your arsenal to fight this and make it easier for those Australians doing it tough.
Thank you, Senator Smith.